guys. That's why they're so much. Yeah. So guys, there's a sign-in sheet coming around. It's got a little more detail than most of our sign-in sheets will have. Just because I want to make sure I know everyone's classroom number, and I want to make sure I know when your planning period is. That way, for two reasons. When I'm coming around to do classroom observations or help you out with stuff, I know when your planning period is and isn't, and then also just where your room is, because I still don't have high level 2 rooms memorized. Hello. Hello. This makes me feel like what it felt like on the first day of school at a high school. For some reason, it's just different at elementary schools. I'm so excited that everybody is in the same room right now. It's a big deal, and it's very cool. We are going to do our very, very best every single meeting to start on time and end on time. So thank you to everyone that was able to get here at 3:30. We understand if you need a bottle of water or you need to go to the restroom or your kid is freaking out, if you come in a little late or if you have to leave a little early. Like, everyone gets that, everyone respects that. But just do your best and try to respect each other. Matt's going to start us off today to kind of get us on the right foot, and then today's really going to be just about whole group dialogue. It's not how it's going to be every single time, but we are pumped to get started, and we want to use every minute we have. So let's go ahead and.
Thanks, guys. I'll talk quickly.
Oh, I didn't tell you the cheerleaders are coming.
We'll have a profound impact here, but I don't know here. Maybe I can concentrate, man. Thanks for staying after, and thanks for being on this team. We've got people that were on it last year, people that were on it this year, and just excited about what you guys are doing and going to do. Not going to stand up here and read mission, vision, and all that stuff because we went over a lot of that. The first few days, but if you look at our vision, if you look at our mission here at Enterprise City Schools, this is a big part of it. And if you read it word for word, I think you'll see that it ties hand in hand with what you guys are doing and hopefully creating in your classrooms on a daily basis. And I look forward to you guys learning from each other. We have one of these, and it used to hang when Lori was in here and Megan here. It used to hang right here, and I think I found it, but it was I sent it out to you guys. It kind of made me think a little bit today of what we want to prepare in a graduate. And everything, if you took our vision, mission, and some of our goals, and you put it into this right here, it all sounds pretty familiar. We want our students to be skilled at writing and speaking in public arenas. Think about activities that you do with this particular process or this team. Civic-minded, active in our community life, involved in addressing those global challenges that you guys are looking at. I've heard several of you talk about the debate or a Socratic seminar and the upcoming election that you've been talking about. Collaborative skill of working with a team to think critically and solve problems around a common goal. Academically competitive, effectively prepared to succeed in national and global arenas. Tech savvy, we've had this one highlighted for quite some time. I think all of us, 38% we had, and I think I shared this with the other day, so I'll talk with you. 39% of you, when we did our end of the year PD survey, indicated that you wanted some type of DOK, depth of knowledge training specifically for your content area. We have that coming up. Talk about that tomorrow and Friday. And 38%, the second most requested PD was how to integrate and how to effectively use technology into your lessons. And I think what you guys are doing here and the way it's spreading with some of the ideas that I've talked about how to bring along others, you guys that are year 2 people, bringing along new people. We're looking at what, 25 right here? Yeah. Think about what it's going to look like when we get to 55 and 75. And we're taking the go slow to go fast approach and hopefully laying the building blocks. Culturally perceptive, aware that cultural similarities and differences exist and have an effect on values, learning, and behavior. Personally responsible, talk about soft skills that demonstrate leadership and promote lifelong success. Globally aware, communicates effectively, cross-culturally, or in another language based on knowledgeable worldwide views. And then obviously that leads to a college and career ready graduate, and I encourage you guys, I know a lot of this is a work in progress, but as we prepare our lessons, please go back and look, and we've taken them down, but go back and every time I'm in there, I look at those skeletons of what a prepared graduate looks like. And if we're not producing lesson plans or producing lessons that teach these kind of skills, and I said this out earlier, but the skills are constantly changing. What's required for a graduate in 2015 has already changed by the year 2020. Not going to read them all for you, but complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, all of the things that you guys are doing here it is. So this is what is being demanded out of our graduates. I applaud you guys for being on the team. Just a couple of things that I want to reemphasize. We talk about expectations all the time. We do have high expectations for number one, ourselves. So we obviously want you to be here. Being here is important. We know life happens and things come up. You have to slide in and slide out. Please communicate that, when that comes up. So be here, be prepared when you're here, be prepared to learn, be prepared to learn from each other, and make a positive impact on others around you, not just with your students, but you guys that are going to be having an impact, your two people that are going to be bringing people on board. You're going to be the ones that are going to make or break someone's experience with this. So please be positive, be patient, be patient. You guys know from the position that many of you have been in that some things don't come that easy. There's a lot of people that may have fear or anxiety about this. That's okay. There's always that little bit of pushback. And then once they realize kind of where you're going with it and believe in it, I really believe they'll come on board because this is the right thing for our students. So once again, thanks Beth for coming over. Thank you, Lori, and thanks all you guys for being part of the team. Look forward to seeing great things happen in the classroom. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
4 minutes.
It was a job. Today, like I said a minute ago, is probably going to be the most that we just sit here in one group and just talk about a couple topics because it's really important for all of us to get and stay on the same page throughout this school year, especially because we are merging TIE Level 1s and TIE Level 2s. The summer learning, you guys, I could stand up here for an hour and I'd probably start crying 30 minutes in about how successful it was. I was just blown away by how committed people were, by how hardworking people were, by how many of you went home, did the work, by those of you that couldn't attend, and then you found someone to collaborate with and complete what we did. I mean, all of that was just amazing, so thank you. Today what we're gonna do is, talk a little bit more. I wanna hear what you have to say about expectations. Max really set the stage for us, but the most important thing is that you have voice in that. I'm not just saying that because we all know if you don't have voice in it, it very quickly becomes easy to make an excuse to not follow through, etc. The second thing is we're just going to reflect with each other about norms and routines. I want to hear those of you TIE Level 2s what you are doing to set norms, to create routines, to have these high quality expectations. And we also want to hear from our TIE Level 1s if they have any ideas, but then we want to merge those. We want to steal from each other. I reference that author, Austin Kleon, so much that the most powerful thing you can do is steal like an artist, and that no good idea should live in a box. If you hear something said by a teacher in this room, it is safe to steal. And if you don't believe in sharing, then this is not the jam for you because you're all doing such cool stuff. The third thing, we're going to talk a little bit more about what an innovative classroom culture means, and we're going to connect that to some of those skills that Matt was highlighting. Lastly, talk a little bit more about SAMR and how we're going to connect that to an exit post with the Google Classroom. Will somebody nerd out for me and read that quote, please?
If we create a culture where every teacher believes they need to improve, not because they're not good enough, but because they can be even better, there is no limit to what we can achieve.
So what does that mean?
Don't stop.
Okay, what else?
We're not improving because we're not good. We're improving because there's always room for us to get better, and we want to be better than we are.
Absolutely. It's, and that, one of the biggest buzzwords we're living in education right now is the growth what?
Mindset.
Yeah. So much so that we're like, no, yeah, we get it. But also we have to really believe it deeply. And when I saw this quote, it kind of hit me and I was like, whoa, this is what TIE is. Every person in this room is already so good at what they do, but you're choosing to show up and become better constantly. And then there's this duality with it, that you're not just becoming better for yourself, you're realizing that you have to become better for who? And then also whom? Yeah, the world, the community, and each other. I'm so much more willing to try something if Lori's already done it, or if Megan has already tried it, or if Matt's bringing the idea to me, than I am to just jump out there by myself. So when we're saying that there's currently only roughly 25 teachers in this room and we've got 100 and something massive in the building, it makes a huge difference when they see you guys doing it. So I really hope that you believe that and, connect to it. So also, just like a classroom, our learning targets, we're going to discuss the expectations, we're going to reflect on the norms and routines, and then we're going to share out our stuff. And I'm going to share these slides to you, so I promise you I'm not intentionally going too fast. So Matt has kind of set the stage for our expectations. I want to hear from you guys. What are your expectations for TIE this school year?
I want my students to be able to share beyond just like my classroom. Somehow or another, I mean, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
But looking at Stanwell, I really want them to have a chance to feel like they're part of a much bigger community.
Huge, okay. What else?
To really focus on that authentic audience of getting outside of the classroom, connecting to other classrooms, connecting to other people across the globe, because that's really what it's all about.
Okay.
Which goes with what they said, I want them to want to learn.
Yes.
Really hard.
I want to use these to increase students' creativity. I want them to create things and connect with people and share what they created to build that future.
Okay, so not just taking it all in, but then also doing something with it, and then also sharing something out. Okay, what else?
I want them to feel comfortable and confident in what they're doing. I don't want them to feel like, I don't want them to be overwhelmed with it. And if I show confidence, I feel they will have confidence as well.
Yeah, I don't want you guys to be overwhelmed. When I think about being the facilitator of this room, that's something that's huge for me. I want everybody, I don't know how many of you got a chance to open that EdTech Tuesday email yesterday, but that quote that we hear all the time, that do not compare your beginning with this to someone's middle. And then also when it's combined with the other quote, realize that there never is truly an end to this if we believe that we're always getting better. It's huge. Okay, what else?
I know that we're in the library, so it's a little bit different than having a classroom. But I expect when the kids get excited in the classroom, we sit in the library because they come there to continue it, to get help with it. So
To really
I
even
expect to
bridge
see
that.
that more and more in the library.
Cool. Okay.
Build off that. I expect to make mistakes and be met with failure and be okay with that. And my students as well, and pursuing through that is an expectation.
Yeah, and I think you have an instructional leadership team that's ready for that. I don't think you have anybody on that team that is like, okay, she messed up on that project, she's getting taken off TIE, and she never gets to post anything online ever again. Which is, a lot of people don't have that, so we really need to capitalize on that until they change their minds, right? Okay. Okay, if you think of anything else, please email me or please post it in the Google Classroom. We really want to keep, as high of expectations of me, of each other, of this entire team as possible. Okay, so these are the lame, boring expectations for me. And I'm sorry, but it's just like with your classroom that you empower your students to create the norms, but then there's some really basic things we've got to live by. There are only 10 TIE meetings a year, okay? So 4 of those are going to be half days. That's 1 every 9 weeks. 6 are going to be after school. We understand that things happen. We understand that emergencies happen. Just follow the same procedures you would with if you have to miss a day of teaching, right? Like, document it, let people know beforehand. It's not the end of the world. We're live streaming this right now for 2 people that can't attend this. It's going to go to them. They'll be able to watch and participate. Not quite the same. It's only going to them. Don't worry about it. It's not going to, you're good. It's just going to them. So in the half days, we really want to be here and committed. We really want that time to be, one thing I got a lot of feedback from district-wide was we want more time to collaborate with each other. Like, Beth, you're really good at talking, congratulations, but like if we could also just sit and work together, that would be awesome. So that's what I'm really hoping for. A lot of what the synergy was in summer leadership, where you guys got down on the floor, where you were learning things together, where you were like, oh my God, I need this app, let's try it out. And then we immediately tried it, and it was brand new. Like, that's the type of stuff we want happening on those half days. You've all been invited to the first semester through Google Calendar, so let me know if you had any issues with that, and then we'll do the same thing when we get those dates set second semester. Second thing is a requirement to please be in the Google Classroom, the TIE Google Classroom, 15 minutes a week. So when you think about how many times you check your texts, or you check Facebook, or if you're like me, check Twitter, when you think about 15 minutes a week, it's just not that much time. Thank you to those of you that are already doing this. I could literally, like, freaking out. Poor Lori. I'm like taking my MacBook into her office every 5 minutes, like, oh my God, what, you're not gonna believe what Amy Rhodes just posted. You're not gonna believe what Lori just posted. You're not gonna believe what Hannah just posted. Like, so much cool stuff, but you've gotta go in there and see it. And if you're only in the lurking stage of this, you're not quite ready to post, that is okay too. But go give someone positive feedback in the comments. Say, thank you for posting this. Say, can I steal your slides and make a copy? Can I come observe you next week while you're doing this, because this is not working for me? They are going on websites all over the place. I can't get them to do anything that I'm at. You know what I mean? Like, be there for each other. And I promise you, I'm gonna hold you accountable to this. Okay, so if you guys choose to have a TIE Google Classroom for the high school as well, just reverse it. Like, go 15 minutes in the district TIE classroom, the next week 15 minutes in your high school classroom. That, you know, so you're really, that's only 30 minutes a month or an hour a month max in the Google Classroom. It's just not that much time. And kind of just that share, reflect, respond, repeat mentality. Okay, I shared something this week, next week I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna respond to someone. Next week, I'm just gonna go in and post a reflection. Next thing, live by the norms. We're gonna look at the more specific norms. We're gonna see if we need to add anything on the next slide, but overall, when you sum it up, it's just 3 things. Be positive, be prepared, and you all know that I say this word way too much, but be pumped. Be excited about this. Like, this is a really cool time to be a teacher, and I get that your jobs are the most hard, ridiculous thing, and I will never understand, like, walking in, I couldn't even believe the things Brent and Matt told me had already happened in the building today in 5 minutes. I get all that, but
They
just,
don't know about that, so don't.
no, but just, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy what you guys have to deal with. So thank you for bringing your best. It is greatly appreciated. Okay, so this is what we've got right now. Let's see if, I just want to hear what you think about them. If there are any you think we really need to highlight or focus on this year, and if there are any you think we need to add, or any questions you have about them. Kirby, which one do you think is one, based on what we did in TIE last year, which one do you think is something we probably still really need to focus
on? The thing I need to focus on the most, I don't know about us as
Okay.
a whole, but I'll call out my weakness. real quick. The thing I need to focus on the most is like reflection, because
Okay.
it's really easy for me to just say, well, that sucked, and like move on. But it would be so much more beneficial if I asked myself, well, why? Like, why did that not go how I wanted it to? Or why can I not get this kid to do what I need them to do? Or why are you scrolling through Facebook? You know, those sorts of things. So reflection, and then what am I gonna do about it next time?
Yeah.
That's really what I need to focus on the most.
Anybody else? It doesn't have to be individual, it can be for our whole group too.
I would say partner, connect, create, and share. Actually witnessed yesterday, I won't say names, but one of our TIE members was helping someone not on TIE learn to navigate Google Classroom and become more comfortable using it with her students, and I thought that was really cool.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Skater.
So it goes beyond us.
That's the whole point.
The way that I learned the best last year was just with the sharing, that somebody else in a completely different subject area may have done something really jam up awesome. Like when Bridget was doing her Connect you know, across the globe kind of stuff, that I was like, you know what, I'm not a history teacher, I don't teach that, but you know what, I can do something just as cool as that. So that's what I really learned best from, is to know that somebody else was doing something as amazing as I could also be doing.
Anything you think we need to add?
Kind of going off what Kirby said, like growing and supporting. I want to get like better at, like, when I see a problem in my classroom, like writing it down, so that way I can bring it to the table and then like come up with solutions together. Because sometimes I feel like when I get to tie, I'm like, wait, what's been going on? Like, I forget. So I just think it'd be like, you know,
To bring
Good.
some stuff, like these two
Yeah,
things
like
are,
problems that arise, like keep a running tab, so that way when we have a time meeting, we can be like, hey, kids, keep going in Google Doc chat. I was having a meeting today. Google Doc chat was going on
Yes,
today
ma'am.
in my class. So like, what do you guys do for Google Doc chat? That kind of thing, you know?
I told them they're never alone, so I'm always there watching.
Yeah, I know. I brought it up on the screen and like I pretended I didn't know they were on Google Doc chat. So I brought it through. I was like, oh my gosh, people are in Google Doc chat, and they're all like, oh my gosh. Like, trying to get out.
yeah,
So they
that's
figured out today that actually people see it, which they didn't know that because a lot of them have never been in Google Docs before until today. So that was interesting.
Also, I think my biggest thing is to ask for help, because I'm not one to ask for help. If I don't know how to do something, I'm either not gonna do it or I'm gonna figure it out on my own.
Yeah.
And so it'll take me a longer time, but I'd like to not have to do that.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's the trust piece. Thank you for saying that. I think a lot of us, most of us are probably very prideful people in this room and don't, you know, prefer to not ask. But oh my God, it makes such a difference when we do, right? Okay. So we're gonna like really live by these. We're gonna refer back to them. If you have any ideas or even look at your class, I was nerding out about Amy, Trista, Michelle and Amy collaborated on how they set their classroom norms, and I was like nerding out. Amy just posted today or yesterday. Yeah, how some images of what it ended up looking like, and some of them are so good. Like I just want to steal them and apply them for adult learning. So jump in there and check those out too, because this is really cool and really happening. I am aware of how many questions are on this slide. Okay, we're gonna kind of summarize them, but what we're really gonna do is just talk about how you guys are doing this, how you're setting norms, how you're setting routines, and how you are holding those expectations, like the GChat no use policy, Sarah. Like how realistically do you sustain that in your classroom? How are you gonna make sure, the three of you that have already done the Chromebook norms, that they like really live by those? So the first thing I'd like to do is just anybody that wants to just share out your process of how you set norms or how you are planning on setting norms, both behavior and also with the Chromebook specifically.
I'll start.
Yeah.
So the first day I did hand out a syllabus and I thought my type A personalities were going to croak in my class. They're like, I need a piece of paper to take to my mom. I'm like, you'll be fine. So I put plastic solo cups on their desk. I did 10, put them in a pile with some rubber band and some string. I said, you can't touch the solo cups, figure it out. You have to stack them into a pyramid, unstack them, and restack them. Good luck. And they were like, what? And so as they started to work, they got it and they figured it out. And I went to the board afterwards and I said, okay, so if you had an opportunity to do this over again, what would you want me to tell you? And they're like, we want you to tell us how to do it. And I said, well, if I tell you how to do it, would you really get any, like, that feeling of success at the end? And they're like, no. And I think that was a really big moment for some of them where they realized, like, I don't have all the answers and they can figure it out on their own. And something else that was really cool is that with, like, the way you do it, you tie the string to the rubber band and you all four have to pull to make the rubber band square to fit it over the top of the cup to move the cups. I said, so if 2 people pull on the string and the other 2 people don't pull, what happens? They're like, well, you can't do it. I said, exactly, like, we all have to work together. And so it's just a really good way to, like, introduce, like, if this activity was our classroom, what would you want it to look like? And then I said, what do you need from me? to be successful, and then what you need from your peers to be successful. And we did like a chart on the board, and then we took that and turned that into our classroom norms. So it went really well.
Great. Awesome.
I let them, we were in circles and we had a T-chart. And they had to think back to last year of all the things that interfere with their life and make a list of those on the left side. And on the right side, make a list of norms that we can create that would prevent those interruptions from happening. So they made their list and then they gave me their top 5. And then I took those and kind of mixed them together to create the norms that we were going to follow. And we put them up on the board, so we need to add anything and take it away. So just kind of give them some ownership.
I didn't do norms, I have not done any norms yet for the Chromebooks. Because in science class, one of the most important things is lab safety, but it's also one of the most boring things. So, we did, and I also, like you, I didn't want, for the very first time, and as long as I've been teaching, I didn't want to hand out a syllabus on first day because I was going to be innovative. And, you know, we did do technology. So we did an animal behavior lab with lions, and they got to just test, they put them in a choice chamber and they watched the animals and record what item they choose to like the most. So while they were doing that, I took whoever was the Snapchat king in the class, and they all, pointed out who it was, and so that person went around the room and he thought of his own questions to develop our lab safety norms.
Cool.
And so he went around and videoed, and I think
I think you posted a couple videos, yeah.
So
Yeah.
we did kind of fix it up.
Way to try something. What about Chromebook norms or things specific to like the essential functioning of a one-to-one classroom? Because just so we're clear in the room, those of you that don't know Tie Level 1s, your Tie Level 2 teachers were only one-to-one for a couple of weeks, and we labeled it action research, which if any of you have had to do that in college, it basically means, do whatever you want. So we're all very new to this. None of us have really had to do this. It was just survival mode in those couple weeks. So they don't have much of a one-up on you with that. So any ideas or any ways you're doing this? Yeah, Hannah.
On our first day, I did go ahead and get them to use their Chromebooks the first day, so I wanted them to know, like, we're gonna use these regularly and get them where it's not like a new thing and they're not worried about it. So what I did is, like, my syllabus, I had it as a Google Slides, and so on one of the slides, I kind of told them, okay, do the survey, and then when you get done with your survey, you have to go and look at syllabus, explore on it, find all the different things. So I purposely put one of the things as being like our technology norms and rules, and so they had to do that. And one of the rules was like, I kind of took it from you, that whenever I'd say stop and look, you have to put your screen halfway down. Well, I put it on there and didn't say anything about it, so whenever I was ready to get started, I said, stop and look, and I looked to see how many people actually did it.
How
So
many?
it was I had like 2 per class that would actually do it. So I was like, okay, so whenever I give y'all things like this, you have to really go through, you have to be accountable for doing all of this. I'm not gonna be the one that tells you everything. You've got to find that information. And so that was one thing, was making them aware that I'm not gonna sit here and say everything. You've got to actually look for those things. But in there, we went over like our rules and stuff. And one of my things, because we kind of talked about like our setup and our charging and stuff, that I had like a procedure where on even days that even computers charge, on odd days, odd charge. So I kind of went over that with them. And we had like, okay, so making them get the Chromebooks out and put them away, I made them like, okay, this is how we put them away. This is the number of Chromebooks that you have every day. And just kind of.
Did you guys like physically practice that? Okay.
Yeah,
How many
I
of you are
made them
doing
like,
something
okay,
like that?
this group's gonna go away. All right, show me how you would do that. And so we spent, more time than we would normally do cleaning away on that first day, teaching them how to do those things.
I have a question. It's kind of selfish. If we don't have all of our Chromebooks, when are they, like, when's the, 'cause I mean, I have like 13.
Brad and Stacy are saying that the numbers are usually balanced out on today of school starting. So what Stacy, we have this Google Doc with all of your names and your biggest class size number and how many devices you actually have right now. So what Stacy does is she goes in, she looks at those numbers, they figure out like Heron Creek might have 40 extra Chromebooks this year because of their numbers. So they'll have to go pick those up, bring them to here, get them divided out with your media specialist. So it's gonna take a minute. And that, you know, we just appreciate, like Matt was saying, your patience with that because it's not gonna be perfect. It's the same thing with the Thai Level 1 Chromebooks. They were originally supposed to be here last Friday. Now they're saying they might be here this Friday, which means that their Monday delivery for those teachers might get pushed back even more. But as soon as we know, you will know. And that's something I'm trying to hold myself to, you know, as much as possible. Which, so I'm sorry if I'm flooding you with emails, but there's just really no other way to do it, you know. So, but thank you for bringing it up because it's important info. So building off of Hannah's, and please go in and check these people's out that have already posted. How do we make sure that the norms, whether they're behavior, but for right now, specifically with the Chromebooks and netiquette, who's saying that? I've seen it posted in a couple people's things. I love that term. And Google it because now there's tons of cool stuff online about it. Don't fade away. How do we ensure that like it is so, not to use this term, you know, like I don't want it to be like a dictatorship in there, like almost military, like they know what is good to go and they know what's not good to go when it comes to the Chromebooks, whether it's carrying them and charging them or when you're using them online. Like what are some ways you guys have already figured out how to make that a reality, or what are some ways you're planning on making that a reality?
Well, one way is I assigned all of my students a number, and it's all posted inside of like the cabinet. So, like if person from block 3 comes in and they're number 13, and person from block 2, they can look to see who that person is. Then they've like been leaving them a sticky note inside their Chromebook saying like you didn't plug in, because I have like the computers.
Smart.
Yeah, the computers, the cord, and the plug are all numbered in my room. So, and the plug's like taped all the way up with numbers. So it's like 13, 13, 13, 13. And so they should have it plugged into the right one, but still, they still don't plug it into the right one sometimes. And at first they were leaving them like a Google Doc, but that was getting kind of annoying for like other people. So if they weren't like logged, signed out and everything, they were like, oh, you didn't sign up. So now they're just putting in Chromebooks when you open,
Post it.
Yeah. Like they're putting a little Post-it card, so when you open up your laptop, it's like right there on the screen. It's like, hey, you didn't plug it in.
I haven't heard that yet.
And they put like their first name, like, hey, George. They look up, see who it was.
But like totally appropriately, like not being rude,
Right.
also like letting them know. And that is a communication skill. Like sometimes you have to have uncomfortable conversations with people, whether it's through a note.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh my gosh, never doing that again.
Okay.
Well, and them holding each other accountable as opposed to you.
Yeah, I love that.
I was thinking I needed to bring in my OCD with these Chromebooks because I
Yeah.
have to be observant. But the kids have become Nazis. I mean, like they'll shout out the norm at somebody out in a heartbeat. Like today they're typing up, they're doing a little math writing assignment, and someone was erasing it something on typed. You know, they were all on that kid. They were like, you can't do that. That's not being respectful of your group mates. They're just the kids are on it.
I think it's important to stop and talk about things that you see that are going wrong when they happen, and not just make a list. Maybe go over to the end. I'd take time if I see somebody treating the Chromebook like kind of swinging it around. Stop everything. Listen, this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
I think my original problem was that I was too, like, I hated being embarrassed in the classroom, and I really hate embarrassing kids in the classroom. And so I never wanted to like call somebody out, but I had to quit. Like sometimes you just have to. And after that first time, like normally they'll quit.
And you can do it in a respectful manner.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which is something you just have to figure out for yourself.
I preface everything by saying, not saying any names, but I just saw that.
That's the legit.
Well, I'm pointing it out.
My students just signed out with a handle, so I've been like, oh, here's the handle.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, my
Yeah, you gotta make a decision whether you're going handle or no handle. That's the elementary teachers are freaking out about the handle. Another idea I heard from an elementary school teacher yesterday is that so maybe if you're not ready to do the post-it in the Chromebook, like you don't really have that trust with your kids yet, they're having them leave Post-its upside down on their desk before they transition. So let's say that there was something wrong or it was logged in, rather than screaming at the teacher like number 3 was logged in or blah, blah, blah was logged in or whatever is wrong with it. And they just leave it face down on their desk as they're leaving out. So, and then the teacher just picks them up, as she's facilitating rather than any of that wasting classroom time. So, which I like. The other thing that one of the other, for management, an elementary school teacher posted that she bought $25 LED lights that are like 4 different colors, and each color means something different in their classroom. So rather than her ever having to use her voice, like each color means something different. And so this may only be an elementary thing, but I taught high school and I would have stole this idea immediately. And then I was automatically thinking about, okay, how could the colors not only be about like noise in the room, but also things we are doing with the Chromebooks? Like red could mean log out and go to the second website that's listed, and you just let them know things like that. And that way you really can be the one-on-one facilitator rather than constantly having to be at the front of the room talking. So, okay. Please, if you haven't and, you have something, share in the Google Classroom and go check out your peeps that already have and give them some positive feedback, because what we don't want is for the Google Classroom to fade away, that everybody's doing really awesome sharing the first couple weeks and they're still amped up after summer learning, but then it gets to fall break, it gets to Christmas, and we only have like 5 people posting. It's not fair to those 5 people. So, just really great stuff. So these 2 slides kind of go together hand in hand. What is the innovative classroom culture? So the first thing I'd like to do is for someone to just define that for us, because I think innovative classroom culture is a little different than just talking about classroom culture.
By definition, you're trying new things. I think that's basically what it is.
Okay, so new things are being tried. What else?
To encourage your kids to do that too, instead of standing up there saying, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, rather than change and say, how would you do this?
Okay.
How could you come up with a solution for this problem?
So maybe shifting from more of a asking, shifting away from telling towards an asking environment. Maybe less spray and pray, and a little more of you being the facilitator of the classroom, and maybe somebody walking in and not really knowing who you are. Whoa, because you were amongst everybody else doing something. Yeah. So why does it matter? Why does the innovative culture matter?
It changes the focus from the teacher to the student.
Okay.
I think, we're trying to somewhat change our traditional definition of teacher and student this way.
Have any of you been able to, yeah, sorry.
Sorry, no.
Have any of you been able to jump in to this book since the summer? Yeah, so Kuros, and for those of you that didn't get to join us, I tweeted him that we were doing this, and then he jumped in. He was like, hey, I'm not really doing anything. He's a national bestseller, just to be sure that everybody understands that. He was like, hey, I'm not really doing anything right now, just sitting at home with a baseball cap on. Do you guys want to jump on Google Hangout? And then an hour later, we are still having dialogue with him. It was just the most crazy thing. So if you weren't there, I have your copies of the books here, but it was just so neat. And so now he's super invested in Thai. Like, he's tweeting me, asking questions about you guys, and you are a model of what's happening in this book. And if that doesn't inspire you, Margie Tyner, if you know her, is the ABC teacher at Pinedale, and she is just a gift to the world. It's hard to be in the same space as her because you're like, whoa, I have to be a better human.
She said at our summer training that this is the most exciting year of her life to ever be a teacher, and she doesn't know how she could ever quit. So her plans are never quitting. Imagine if we can get people who've been teaching 25, 30 years, which we have some people who are that legit in this room already, who are the leaders of this. This is not about millennial teachers. This is about all of us like being the best, and it's a mindset. That's what he says. So I was flipping through Twitter and I saw this image, and I know it's super small. I couldn't get it any bigger. Does anybody need that read, or can you read that? So this is from Future of Jobs Report World Economic Forum. So the top skills in 2015 versus the top skills in 2020. I had to go with Dr. Wright for her to give a speech. I'm not going to say where it was, basically because the people there didn't know how to turn a computer on. And the first thing that she said was our pre-K students that are starting today will be graduating in the year 2030. And that was how she set the stage to help these people understand that, yeah, we're doing things a little bit differently. And your kids' classrooms may not look the way that they looked even 5 years ago, let alone when you were in school. And then when you look at a list like this, think about over in the 2020 list, how many of those things, and let's just call some out, that you're actually promoting in your classroom, that you're actually trying to master while also mastering your content skills. Sue, which one do you think you guys are doing the most?
Definitely the first two. I think that's something you always aim at, but I think more so much this time is maybe people management, because they're having to work together. I'm doing a lot of project based, and they've got to learn to work together. And they have to and work with others and contact others and reach out. And I think that's probably where they're going to do more of this.
Renee, what do you think?
Well, honestly, I'm actually so pleased to see emotional intelligence. Because that's something that I'm kind of passionate about. I think that's really important for all the students, and it's something I do kind of promote in different ways. It's kind of not really tangible, but it's important. One of the things I did for my students, I said the first 3 students, I am going to offer some sort of advice. I want all of my students to know everybody's name in the classroom soon. And because how many of you, have the very end of school and they're passing back papers and they're like, to me, that's absolutely sad. It just can't, it's sad. It can't happen. So, they have to be a community. We're going to have to lean on each other. So, and I think there's a little bit of that, once you know someone's name and you're talking to them, that promotes a lot of these things.
We give a quiz on that.
Oh, you do?
Yes, they do.
Oh, they do a quiz? Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
Well, they really, what they do, they do that stupid little get to know that everybody does. It's so old. It's like so old, but I do a twist on it, and like they have to know, like if when they get the papers back, I'll say, okay, you get points if you can tell me who was the one in the white science. Okay, and then after they get points for that, then I say, okay, we're gonna put another twist on this. You got 5 minutes. You better know everybody's names, 50 points.
It's cool.
And boy, they know them like that.
And then, yeah. Could I do the same thing with every teacher in this building? Do you know every teacher's name?
That's 100. That's
I don't even know.
Stan, do you know every teacher's name? Do you know every teacher's name? Should we quiz him right now?
Last year, honestly, I went up there and it was, I knew she was an aide, and I didn't know she was a long-term sub or the aide, and I'm like, exactly who are you?
Oh my God.
I know which one you're talking about. I say no. I do,
Oh my God. Of course. So I would love if any of you are interested in using this image with your students to get their voice on this. I'm interested to see how many teachers and students even really understand what those things mean. And then how they are connected to learning math versus learning psychology versus learning science. And where we can find the overlap, especially if you're teaching the same grade and the same kids. Like, imagine if we could really pinpoint, yes, because Sarah did this and Sue did this and Bridget did this and Hannah did this, we definitely have more kids this year that can do complex problem solving, that have more emotional intelligence, etc. Let's really try to hold ourselves to that just a little bit higher, I think, than we did last year, because like legit, we had 0 wings. And now we kind of have 1 wing. So we might have 2 after Tie Level 2 has been with us all year, because they're amazing.
I actually show my kids this the second day. I say, these skills
Oh,
are
wow.
just as important as the syllabus that you're receiving to take them over the weekend. Tell me how you are going to get to this point. And they came up with great ideas. Oh, we can work together in teams, and then we can, okay, now you want to work in a team. And I make them want to do that.
Cool.
That worked.
Yes. So here's an example of steal like an artist, right? So if you're still unsure how to do this, then go see Kelsey and just like steal the way she did it. Don't reinvent it if it's already there. Okay, the last thing we're going to do today is really just, and we've kind of been doing this already, but get more specific into how you are mastering standards using the Chromebooks. My favorite app right now, some of you have probably figured out, is Adobe Spark. So they took Adobe Voice and they redesigned it, and now they're calling it Adobe Spark. And there is Voice, which is pictures and music and voice. Then there is Page, which is like doing a blog post or a website. And then there is Post, which is doing like an image like that. You know those people that make all those cool little quotes and with a beautiful picture behind it, and you're like, how do they do that? This is how they do it. You can do it in 3 minutes. And the cool thing is it's a web-based thing, so you don't have to add an app, and your kids can just access it in their web browser, and you can access it in your web browser. So the first question is, what learning activities have you done with the Chromebooks, or are you planning to do first with the Chromebooks, specifically related to mastery of standards, like learning targets? If you have a learning target, the activity that they're doing to show application of knowledge is this. So just share some ideas out, or share some things you've already done.
Yeah, sure. So we have like our very first thing is point signs and planes. And so there's an activity that we do that they're having to demonstrate how point signs and planes relate. And there's like different scenarios of making like planes parallel and making a line parallel to different planes. And so they do these with note cards and straws, and they're having to like intersect them and stuff. And so it's a really good activity, but when you have 30-something kids, it's really hard to keep them accountable for what they've done. And so it's good to be like, you're going to show it, but how am I able to see what they did? So what I did is I got them to do that activity, but they had their Chromebooks, they worked with a partner and would take pictures of the activity that they did, and then had to put those pictures into Google Slide to submit to me. So then like I was able to look over them, and so like the second day, if there was a problem that I didn't catch them doing while they were doing it, I made a couple slides to review and said like, you know, put up with a couple of them and said, okay, why did these not work? And then we'll have the next one, okay, this one did work. Why was this one right and that one wasn't? So it was really holding them accountable, but you know, they were able to publish it.
Yeah.
You know, some of them did a really good job, like they even typed out, like they had to do explanations for things, and they used pictures to explain stuff and like.
My mind was blown. Hannah tweeted a picture of it, and the way they were sitting, like they would be partners, and Ginger would scoot up, and Sue would have the computer, but nothing had to be changed because they flipped the camera. So the handles might be annoying, but those cameras flipped. So they didn't have to do, you know, when this person was taking the pictures, this person was showing the application, then they could just reverse it by flipping the camera again. I was like, whoa. So I showed that to everyone at Holly Hill's meeting yesterday, and they were all stealing Hannah's idea. And I said, like, you can double check with her. You think she cares, but I don't think she cares. Like, reach out to her on Google Classroom and ask her if she'll share her slides so you can apply this. You know.
No, I just love that what we zeroed in on both him when she talked about it. I was like, yes, because we're still holding them accountable for that content
Mhm.
in a creative way. So it wasn't like, okay, yeah, that's.
Will you say that one more time? I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop you. We are holding them accountable for the,
For the content in a creative way.
okay, that is tie. That is what tie is. And in the process of that, you're also getting better at what you do.
I thought it was awesome.
Phenomenal. And thank you for already sharing it with each other. How cool. Where does that fall on the SAMR model? Where do you think that falls? Say it, Tristan.
Oh, no, I'm not.
Okay, I heard you, but I'm not gonna call you. Okay. Where do you think? Okay, tell me why.
Well, it's a little bit more than a substitution. I mean, it's not just they're doing this on the computer, they're taking what they did and they're adding to that and then presenting. So
They took it, they added to it, they presented. What would make it modification, or Hannah, do you think it's modification?
When you share it and ask their input of why this didn't work. I mean,
There you go.
So.
So the activity itself was augmentation.
Yeah.
But
The
then,
second day, we put those up there because that was like the big thing that I didn't want them to do the activity and send it to me, and then I'm like, okay, that's all it's cool. And like even some of them, I asked them to give me commenting rights so I could send them
Right on.
particular messages, you know, and like I was like, hey, send it, share with your groups, you know, all there and I can comment, but that's why I wanted to come up on slides because I was like, hey, if you can send them to me, then let's do that.
okay, so is anybody brave enough to share how she could take this to redefinition? One of the oldest tricks in the book that proves that you know it. And when you use tech, there you go, right?
Teach it.
So once they teach it, so how could they do that? What's a Chrome app they could use to do that? They could do a Google Hangout with someone. They could create a Wii video, which, oh my God, we are buying Wii video, so your Wii video is no longer going to have that humongous thing that says, this is a free thing, blah, blah, blah. And they just updated it today. I was on the phone with them for way too long, but that is happening, so that's super exciting.
Is there a way that you can like add voice to your slides?
Yes.
That you could, if you're doing slides and you have it, then you can also attach a voice to it, or you're having to explain yourself.
But it's an add-on app. Can you email her how to do that? Okay. Or post it in the Google Classroom so everyone can see it. That's probably better, right? And then once they've created this, what's another thing they could do? Use something to create a, where you record this while you're talking. What's that called? Yeah, like a screencast, right? Screencast-O-Matic or Snagit or Jing. And then to make it really truly redefinition and get to what you're really wanting your kids to have, what you're really wanting your kids to have is to what?
Share.
Yeah.
Like, when you mentioned March timing, and we're talking poets today, you're both like, woo! But we decided that eventually we're gonna try to get, you know, my orange geometry students to be teaching concepts to her while kids, you know.
No, that's okay. Renee, if that is your one goal for this whole year and you get there, or maybe you get there in 9 weeks and then you set another goal, that's the point. That is where she's at. That's the journey she's on, okay? Not everyone's has to be the same, but how amazing when you get there.
She's excited to be great for the kids too, to have a connection to a different school, different students.
Great.
My kids in her class, I'm just pumped up.
Cool. That's what we want. We want parents pumped up about being in your classes. For real, please share with them. Some of you are doing some really creative stuff to get parents knowing what's going on in your classrooms. I love that some of you have figured out to share your slides or to post them in a way that anyone can view the link, or you know what Hannah figured out with her email, that she could in 5 seconds get every parent's email and copy and paste it rather than typing every single one in. That helped me. I didn't know that, and then I'm just sharing it out to everybody else, like, look at Hannah's post. So my friend Daniel created that image down at the bottom. He's sometimes more nerdy than I am, like the steal mine. So think about that. Steal mine and I'll steal yours. So anything you heard in this room today, steal it. But then it's not fair if you steal something and then you don't give something back, right? So that is where we're going to end today. I'm going to come back to that quote to truly leave us on. Spend 15 minutes in the Thai Google Classroom, and hopefully by Sunday. It is not the end of the world if you don't actually do this by Sunday. But if it's by next Sunday, I'm going to get a little confused and think like, yo, you don't have 15 minutes, but you posted 9 things publicly on Facebook, so I'm like quasi-confused. And I post a lot too, maybe the most, of either an announcement, sharing something. All that is to post an announcement, what do you hit? The little what? That beautiful little plus sign in the corner. Something Thai related you've done in your classroom and or a response to something someone else has posted. If you are not ready yet to post, that is okay. But at the very least, spend the 15 minutes reading a couple of people's posts and give them feedback. And then cut yourself off after 15 minutes. If you want to be in there an hour, be in there an hour. I'm not requiring that. But let's just see how much more collaboration, natural collaboration we can have if we're really in that space. Who are our Google Classroom gurus in here, just so some of us know? Because I am a beginner with it. Okay, so we have Michelle. Who else are we pointing at? Bridget.
Crystal.
I'm getting there.
Crystal's getting there. Suzanne, I would say from Jamie, Jason, okay, Lori. So we've got people to go to, you guys. It is, for some reason, I'm a Schoology person. It is not as natural to me as it is. Like if you did Edmodo for tons of years and now you're trying to do Google Classroom or whatever, get with these people. Crystal's like running down the hallway trying to help people, in 5 minutes to, something that's not working. And they'll all, I guarantee you they'll be there for you. So, and the other thing is if you just want to use this thing, okay, what's something you've done related to SAMR, say where it fell on SAMR and reflect on it, you can. This is what I'm leaving you with. Will somebody read it out loud?
As middle and high school educators, we need to appreciate the fact that although we confront an adolescent's moodiness, impulsiveness, rashness, and quixotic nature, we also encounter the teen's exuberance, passion, idealism, sensitivity, creativity, and caring for others.
So on the days that are super rough, please remember the second half of this list. And also realize that 9 times out of 10, we could just change that to right? And remember that with each other too, that it's probably not you if someone rolls their eyes or is looking down. It just might be that day. So thank you so much. I'm going to make you do something really nerdy that I used to do with my students. We're going to take a group picture now, and then we're going to take a group picture at the end. You can just sit. You don't have to get up and pose awkwardly and touch each other because, oh my God, it's hot here. And then Bridget did a really nice lean in. Oh, of course she did. Of course she did. Okay, ready? Wait, hold on. There's so many of you. Oh my goodness. All right, I got you. 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. Then please nerd out and for real. Thank you for being alive. We're amazing. I only have 4 copies right now for people with this summer, so it is first come, first serve on these, but please put your initials by the sign-in if you got them, so I know that you got them. Oh, my God. So just initial if you got them, so I know you got them.
See, the reason we did that is we
I'll send you. And then
you have the slide.
what do you say? Yeah, they're coming.
Thank you. You're coming to the training. Yes, is that maybe yes. I know, and I now have to take my move.
I don't think so. I think well, I think it's quite something that was really because Brian is they asked him to be on. So yeah. And I was like, you're allowed to be a good invite. I know because you're horrible. But if I know about it. I love you.
Okay, so if she does put your class full time, then you can start doing this. I think she told them I'll double check to start at 11. Because that would be really freaks me out. Your kids, I would think your kids just get ready to schedule. You just have to send them their heart. So she's on your kids. But I don't think we specify.
Oh, yeah.
Teachers attending the training are wanting to go first one. But then the teachers come up.
I guess they're talking about.
I have an idea, but I think.
That doesn't matter. Yes. Stuff, but I'm not trying to sign for it.
I'm very positive she told them to start on So I told her, what's that class? Let's go tomorrow. Right now.
Yeah, so just like, not while I'm not doing What is it?
No, it's not stupid. Sorry. Right, like that's what I down.
Give them a list of the sponsors.
Yeah.
They have to like measurement.
Then they can put the end of the video page on its name. And then we can all show it. And then have the clipboard go around all the kids that are interested.
Now that you can actually go.
Whilst that way teachers, give them just like our service around, like so way teachers, and then
You know, like the sheets and shots of like your best example and maybe like your worst example.
yeah,
And then like how
they come and take with that.
yeah, so we can have it show.
Connect with those kids that are interested.
So that's what they're doing. And then the sub know how to make the program stuff and all of that.
Okay.
And they put the dogs on leashes and they run with them.
That's so neat.
Yeah, I know, which is awesome. I actually did see that. Justina sent me a link of the article to my email. It was like a written article, but yeah. First thing that crossed my mind was like the liability of that. Because if a dog bit kids,
Yeah.
that's the only thing that scares me. But that's awesome. Like that's beyond awesome.
Yeah, it's just like, that's promise.
Literally doesn't. It's like my life right there. My dogs have came to quite a bit of stuff. My dogs came, and my husband brought them too. On track meet in Florida. Yeah, he brought them. Yeah, I was like, he brought the dogs. This track meet is 10 hours long. The dogs are like bored out of their mind. Like, oh, how much longer is this?
That's all we need to hear. Like, these are the
And
reflections.
she brought 3 of them from the shelter. I wanted to felt completely helpful.
She like foster. Okay, well, please keep sharing. Because it's like people are really getting something from it.
I barely speak to mine, but they have each other, and they love to run around and play.
Well, maybe I can come observe on Friday and still
Oh,
tell
my
you.
first walk student for, first walk is a day.
If you remember, shoot me an email if they're actually doing it.
Just a lot, you know.
Okay.
Oh, I know.
Fourth walk,
Okay.
so it's hard, but it's
Yeah. Great, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Katie.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Bye, Karen.
Bye, sorry.